So I have decided to put this part in the video as well. So what I want to say is that if you guys do not want to watch this video, please don't watch it. For example, if you know you did well or you did badly, if you do not or cannot handle stress, just don't watch it because at this point it is not useful. It doesn't matter anymore. But now again, if you're okay, if you just want to know how you did for your exam, then yes, absolutely. But now if you cannot handle stress or pressure, then this just don't watch it. Trust me, don't do that to yourself. It is okay. Just let it be. Now, before we actually do the questions, please read the pinned comment below. Okay, now let's move on to the paper.
Hey, what's up? Welcome back to another video. So first thing first, I want to say thank you for sharing this with me, and I will be doing this full paper for you guys. Let's move on to the paper 2-1 of May-June 2021 that you guys just had this past Wednesday. Okay, so with that being said, let's move on to question number 1. So I think I did this already, so let me try a new method of doing this question. So let's see how can we break this down. We have P, let me use a different color here. So P half plus P, this is 3 actually, not half, 1 over 2 divided by P power minus half equal to the value of 4. Now, one of the ways that I've seen you guys commented is we could always break this down. This is true. So you could have P 3 over 2 over P minus half plus P half over P minus half. Now simplify, you will have what? By the laws of indices, we can combine them together. That will be 3 over 2 divided become minus. Here we have minus half. Here we have plus, and same thing, we have divide become minus. Here we have minus half. And equal to the value of 4. Now simplify, that will be P square plus P, that will be 4. And let's send 4 to the other side, and this will give you a quadratic equation. So P square plus P minus 4 has to be 0. Now if you solve by using the formula, which is P has to be minus B, which is 1, plus minus B square, which is 1 square, minus 4 times A times C divided by 2. So that should give you minus 1 plus minus root of 17 over the value of 2. So obviously P will have to be the positive value, as we have seen before, because of the values of square root has to be positive, because here we have P power half, and we know that square root of P have to be a positive value because of that. This is why we choose this one as your answer for part 1. So this we have done already. I will just try to do this with a new method that we have seen in the comments. Now for part 2, we have to solve this integral. So this is very simple. Let's break this down into 2 pieces. We have 1 over 2x minus 3 plus this, right? So now simplify, you will have what? You will have ln of 2x minus 3 over 2, and this also we know it can be written as power half, so it will give you, we have to add 1 and divide by the power plus c. Now simplify, you should get what? That be half ln of 2x minus 3, and here you have 2 over 3x, 3 over 2 plus c. So question number 1, we have seen this already, I think from the previous question, so no big deal. Now let's move on to question number 3. So this one I think we have done as well. So here we have x and y. Then we have log y against log x, with a straight line passing through those 2 points. So we have this equation where the value of a and d are integers. So same concepts here apply. So you can, well, by showing this, you can always revert it back to showing that log y against log x. You should get the same thing, right? So here we go. So I think we did this already. So log of y has to be the value of ax power n. So the idea is that you can always find the values first and then replace back in the equation to show this is true. So it is the same concepts, but you just have to show the answer in this way, if that makes sense. So at first we can use this equation, break it down, and then bring this back up for your answer. So let's do that. So we have log of y has to be, this is not good, log of a plus log of x power n. Now rearrange, you will have log of y, that will be n log of x plus log of a. Now rearrange, they have log of y equal to log of x times the value of, so this is n here, which is the, leave n here, of course, that will be log of a. Now by comparison, we know that this is basically y equal to mx plus c, as we have seen before. So m equal to n, which is the gradient. We use the 2 points, which will be y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. That will be 15 over 3. That will be the value of 5. Now moving on, let's find the value of a, right? So a will be what? Let's see. Replace back in your equation. Just use a passing point that we can use. This will be log of x, and that will be log of y. Replace in this one, you will have minus 4 equal to 5 times minus 1 plus log of a. So log of a, that will be the value of 1. A has to be 10. Right. Now finally, since you know the value of a and n, you just replace back in this equation to show that y is equal to 10x power n. Here you go. This is the shown as required for question part 3. So let's move on to question part 4. I don't think we have done this one yet. So let's see what do we have right now. So the normal to the curve. So here we have a curve of y. Good. At the point of curve, so at this point, cuts the x-axis at the point P. So we have to find the equation of the normal and the point P. So pretty easy. So in these cases, sometimes, let's draw something so we understand what's happening. So let's say we have a curve. Let's say the curve looks like this. We don't know the shape, something like this. Why not? Now, let's call this my point x equal to minus 1. Let's say it's here, x equal to minus 1. Now at this point I have a normal to the curve. So normal will be at 90 degrees. For example, should be in this direction. Right, let's call this the line n for your normal of the line. Now this normal as well, what happens? He cuts the x-axis. So now let's say we have an x-axis over here. Right, this is my x-axis. So this is the point of intersection. So that will be my point P. So basically this is the main idea behind this question. We have a curve, we have a normal, and we have to find the point P and the equation of normal. Now again, you can see that normal is a straight line, so we have to find the gradient of normal. So we have done this many times. I hope you guys did not have any troubles of solving this question. So what is the gradient of normal? To find this, we must find the gradient of tangent, right? And we understand that this is basically dy by dx at the point of x equal to minus 1. So let's solve. Let's see what happens. So let's first find dy by dx. So dy by dx is what? Looking at the equation here, we have 5x power 4 minus 6x power 2 plus 2x, and that will be 0. Now we have to find the value at x equal to minus 1. So replace, you will have 5, 1 minus 6 times 1, and then minus 2. That should be 5 minus 6 minus 2. So I can usually do this in my head, but you know what? Let me use the calculator so I don't want to make any silly mistakes. This is my gradient of tangent. Obviously, we don't need that. We need the gradient of the normal. So from this, I realized that gradient of normal has to be 1 over 3. Because we understand something, we understand that gradient of normal multiplied by gradient of tangent have to give you minus 1. That is what happens when you have two perpendicular lines. Now, by replacing the value here, you will solve for this one. You will get this as your gradient of normal. Okay, now what's next? Now, to find the equation of normal, we have to find a passing point. We know the value of x here is equal to minus 1, but what is the value of y? Replace back in the main equation, that will give you what? So we have x power 5 will be minus 1 power 5, minus 2 minus 1 power 3, plus 1 plus 3. That will give you what? That will give you minus 1, minus 2 minus 1, that will give you plus 1 plus 3. Okay, so let's see, what do we have? You have minus 1 plus 2 plus 1 plus 3. So let's see, what do we get? That should be 5, right? Because this will cancel out, and that should be 5. So the passing point is minus 1 and 5. Okay, so that will be my x point and the y point. To find the equation of normal now, that have to be y minus the corresponding value over x minus the corresponding value equal to the gradient. Cross multiply, you will have 3y minus 15 equal to x plus 1. So 3y has to be x plus 16. That will be my equation of normal, which is the first part of my answer. Now I need to find the point P. The point P is on the x-axis. So what do I say? On the x-axis, what do we know? We know the value of y has to be 0. So replace, you will have 3 times 0 equal to x minus 16. So x have to be, so plus minus 16. So the point P has to be minus 16 and 0. Okay, this is the question number 4, to find the equation of the normal and then find the point P. Now let's move on to question number 5. So here we have to solve the simultaneous equation, this and this. Okay, so how are we going to solve this? So usually we try to make one of them become subject. So yeah, let's use the easy one first. Here we have 3y equal to x minus 20. Right. Now let's make x become subject. You will have x equal to 3y plus 20. That's my equation number 1. Now let's move on to this one. Right now here I have x squared plus y squared minus 2x plus 6y equal to 0. Now this is my equation number 2, obviously. Now, so I have x here. Let me replace the value of x in my equation, in this one, because we are trying to solve a simultaneous equation. So let's do that. So here we have x is also 3y plus 20. So here we have square plus y squared minus 2x will be 3y plus 20 plus 6y equal to 0. Now let's see what do we have. So expand, you will have 9y squared plus, so 2 times 3 times 20, that should be what? Let's check. Because, you know, it's always good to use that calculator because it prevents you from making a stupid mistake. Then we have 20 squared, that will be 400 plus y squared, then minus 6y minus 40 plus 6y has to be 0. Right. Now let's simplify. As we can see, this and this will have to cancel out. Okay. And then we have this and this, we have to group together. You will have 10 y squared, and then we have this one, so plus 120 y, and then we have this and this, so that will be plus 360. Now you can see that everyone has a 0 to them, so let's divide by 10 everywhere. You will have y squared plus 12y plus 36 have to be 0. Okay, so now as you can see, we have two possible values of y. We have to first factorize and see what happens. This is a quadratic equation, so let's do that. That will be y times y, and 36 can be what? Can be 1 times 36, can be 2 times 18, can be 3 times 12, can be 4 times 9, and that should be pretty much about this. But now let's see if that is possible to factorize to 12, right? So let's see, what can we use here? So this one not possible, not possible. Also we have 6 times 6, we forgot this one. So this one will be perfect. You put 6 here and 6 here, plus 12 will be plus and plus, if that makes sense. So of course this, and then y will be minus 6, y will be minus 6. So we have only one point, which is this, because they're the same thing. We won't take 2, obviously. Now for the value of y equal to minus 6, what is the value of x? X will be 3 times minus 6 plus 20. That will be minus 18 plus 20. That has to be the value of 2. So the point of intersection has to be 2 and minus 6. Okay, that will be the question number 5 of this paper. Let's move on to question number 6. So here we have variables x and y are given by this equation. Now we can rewrite this as y equal to x power 3 minus 91, 1 over 3 for the power, right? This is the same thing. Now we have to find dy by dx, so pretty easy. We use the same concepts as usual. So dy by dx will be what? First you multiply by the power, then you minus 1 to the power, so 1 over 3 minus 1 is minus 2 over 3, and multiply by dx of the value inside, that will be 3x power 2. So simplify, this and this will cancel out, right? And you will have x squared over x cubed minus 91, and then that will be 2 over 3. This is dy by dx for part 1 of the question. So here, as you can see, we only use the same principles, the same concept, the same method. You can find the answer for part A. Now for part B, we have to find the approximate change in y as x increases from this to this. Pretty easy. Approximate change in y has to be the dy by dx at the initial value, which is 6, and times the value of the change, which is h. Let's replace and see what do we get. That will be, replace here, you will have 36 over the value of 6 cubed minus 91. That will be 125 power 2 over 3 times h. So power 2 divided by 3, that should be 25. So 36 divided by 25, that will be 1.44, and the value of h. That will be your answer for question number 6. Let's move on to question number 7. So here we have to write down the expression in the form of this. Oh wait, so we had actually done a similar question for your review, so I think it should be pretty easy for this one. So let's do one by one. So at first we have 4x squared minus 4x. I like to leave some space for the constant. Now I have 4 here, we cannot proceed, we have to factorize. You have x squared minus x, and then plus 7 obviously. So now because the coefficient is 1, now I can proceed for the next step. So right now I have 4 times x squared minus, so here we have 1, right, minus 1, and then there's about 1 here for now, no big deal. Then we have to add something. Take the value of 1 over the value of 2 squared. Now when you add something, you also have to minus the same value. Now because it was inside of the bracket, we also have to give it the bracket value. Okay, now simplify, you will have 4 here. Here we have x, here we have minus, here we have half. Here we have square, that will be this. Now this will be 7 minus 4 times 1 over 4. And finally, that will give you what? 4 here, x minus half square plus 7 minus 1, so this is 1, right? That will be 6. So this is the same thing as this, where these PQ are constants. Now, following this, we have to hence, as you can see, hence find the biggest value of this. As you guys seen before, whenever we have to find the biggest value of a fraction, we have to divide by the minimum value. Right, now we can see the reason why we were asked to do this is because we understand that by expressing this in this form, the value behind here is the minimum value. In this case, it is a minimum value because we know that this one is a minimum curve. So whenever the coefficient of x squared is a positive value, it will be in this shape. So hence we have a minimum value or minimum point. And the value at the end, which is the 6, is your minimum value. So replace that back in the equation. That will be 1 over 6 for the minimum value of that fraction, and state the value of x at which it occurs. So pretty easy. We have to look inside, which is this one. This is the value at which it occurs. So x minus half equate to 0. X will be half. Now again, if you guys did not know how to do this, there's other ways obviously that we can. So let's say you did not see the relationship from the first part to the second part. We could always write this down, right? So this is my equation, for example. Now again, how would you find the biggest value or the lowest value? You know that we have to look at the dy by dx. That's when it happens, right? I have 8x minus 4 and then equate that to 0. So x has to be half. So when x equal to half, that's when we have those values. So now replace back in your equation. 4 times half square minus 4 times half plus 7. So 4 times 1 over 4 minus 4 half and then plus 7. That will be the value of 6. As you can see, we have used the same another method. that we have used, which is dy by dx at the stationary value. Usually that's the method that we use for the max point and the minimum point. Here the same concept applies. We understand that when x equal to this, we have a minimum value of this. That's the main idea. So here you go. By doing this, you can also show this is the biggest value. But here, as you can see, we also have this hence thing, so it shows that we have to use this some way to find the answer. So as we have seen, I did the same question before, so it should be fine. I think that one was pretty easy. Now let's move on to question number 8. We have to show the left hand side is equal to the right hand side. So let's begin from the left hand side, right? So first thing as we can see is that we have cos square 2x on top. So what is that? It is 1 minus sin square 2x. Now we can rewrite this as what? 1 square minus sin square 2x. And we have done this so many times, so I hope you guys know how to factorize this. This is basically 1 minus sin 2x, 1 plus sin 2x. Now replace everything back on the main equation. That will be this over 1 plus sin 2x. So eventually you can see this and this are the same. That will be 1 minus sin 2x. This is shown as required. Now for part 2, hence, as you can see, hence, so using this, solve the equation, this, between the values of x between 0 and 90. So let's compare. So here we have a 3 here. We have to send the 3 here. So divide by 3, you will have cos square 2x over 1 plus sine 2x. That will be 1 over 3. Yeah, that makes sense, right? Now, as we have seen, this one is what? It is given by, it is simplified to 1 minus sine 2x 1 over 3. Right. Now make this one become subject. You will have sine 2x has to be 2 over 3. Okay, so let's continue. From this, since the value of sine is positive, it will be in the first quadrant and also in the second quadrant, ASTC, right? This will be a value of the angle 2x, and this is the value of 180 minus 2x. Makes sense, right? So let's write this down. Right now we have 2x equal to sine inverse of 2 over 3. Again, the reason why we can do this directly is because it is a positive value. So as we have seen before as well, sine inverse of 2 over 3, that will be what? So 2x 41.8, okay? And the other value will be 180 minus 41.8, that will be 238.2. Now again, when we have 2x, we try to add a few values to see what happens. So this one is not right. Let me try again. Because it's supposed to be 180 minus 41.8, 138.2. I don't know what happened here, but that should be 138.2. Now again, when we have the value of 2x, we try to add to see what happens. You know, in this case, I know it's not going to work out, but the method we always try to do is, if the domain permits that, it should be fine. So let's try to see. Add 260 because we have 2x. That will be what? That will be 401.8 and 138.2 divided by plus 360. That will be 498.2. So we have 4 answers for now for 2x. So x has to be divided by 2. That will be 20.9. 138.2 divided by 2, that should be 69.1. Then we have 401.8. That should be 200.9. 498.2 divided by 2, that should be 249.1. As you can see, these values are way outside of the range of the domain. So here we have the two values for x, 20.9 and then 69.1. Yeah, I hope that's the case. So 138.2 divided by 2. Yeah, 169.1. These are degrees. You have two values for this question. Now for part B, we have to solve this one for 1 over 3, root 3, sorry, between this domain. Now, one thing we realize is that cot is 1 over 10. Right, so we'll just make this one become subject. So tan of the angle we have to flip this upside down. That will be 1 over this. Makes sense, right? Now, because tan is positive, as we have known, it should be in the first quadrant and in the third quadrant. This is the angle. Let's call this x, why not? And this one is the so here we have to use radians, so it's pi plus x. Now, so because it is positive here, we can send the value directly to the other side. That will be tan inverse of 1 over root 3. Right. Tan inverse of 1 over root 3. That should be 30 degrees, which means pi by 6. So that will be y. This should be pi by 6. Now also we have another value which is plus pi, which is plus 1 over 6 plus 1. That should be 7 pi over 6. Okay. Now let's see what other values we may have as well. So here we only care about the value of y. Obviously, we don't need the value of y minus pi by 2. So y has to be what? Y has to be this plus this. So 1 over 6 plus half, that will be 2 over 3 pi. And then we have 7. So 7 over 6 plus 1 over 2. That has to be 1, 2 over 3 pi. Or you can rewrite this as well. Let's rewrite this. That will be 2 over 3 pi has to be 5 over 3 pi. Right. Now again, we have to look back at the quadrants that we have to see which values are eligible for the answer. For example, you can see that this one will be outside, so you will not put this side. So you have only one left, which is 2 over 3 pi for your answer because of the domain allowed for the value of y. Now let's move on to question number 9. A function f is defined for all real values of x, right? Now we have f of x equal to 3 plus this. So let me rewrite this down. We have f of x is equal to 3 plus exponential of 5 power x. So exponent 5 power 5x. Now we have to find the range of this value. So whenever we have to find range, we have to understand the graph or the y values of the graph. For example, if you have this and this, let's say when the value of x is 0, what happens? So x is 0, 3 plus 3 plus the value of 1, because e power 0 is 1, that will be 4. Somewhere over here. Now we understand that exponential graph have a shape. When we have e power x, the shape is something like this, as we have seen in one of the questions I've shown you guys. Now I told you that when we draw exponential graph or long graphs, we have asymptotes. In this case, this value right here will be the asymptotes. So this is my line of 3, and my graph will always be in this shape. It will approach this line, but it will not touch it, and it will keep going up. That's the main idea behind this line. As you can see, the value of y, what happens? It always has to be more than the value of 3. So that is why the range y has to be more than 3 for part A of the question. Now for part B of the question, so we have to find an expression for f inverse. So first thing first, let y equal to f of x, which is 3 plus exponential power 5x. Now we have to make x become the subject of formula. So let's do that. You will have exponential 5x has to be y minus 3. Send this ln over here. You have 5x equal to ln y minus 3. So x has to be 1 over 5 ln y minus 3. So finally, because f inverse is in terms of x, so we have to express this expression in terms of x as well. That will be ln of x minus 3. Okay, that will be part 1. And then we have to find the domain. State is domain, so state means should be pretty easy, right? So we understand that, what again? So domain of f inverse is equal to range of f. So we know the range of f was y is more than 3. But here it is domain. We have to express domain in terms of x has to be more than 3. So this is the domain of f inverse given by this expression. Now for part C, we have to solve this equation. So solve, you have this ln of x minus 3 has to be 0. So of course there's many ways to solve this. Now again, this one is the obvious way. We can just replace and solve. You will have this for now. X minus 3 has to be 0. X minus 3 has to be exponential 0. X has to be 1 minus become plus, sorry, plus 3. 4, right? Because here it is, this is 1. Send this over here, become plus 3, that should be 4. Yeah, so x will have to be the value of 4. Here you go. Well, I guess I'm getting tired too. It's already midnight over here, so yeah. Let me try to complete this before I fall asleep. So part D, we have to sketch the graph of y of f of x. Hence, on the same axis, sketch the graph of f inverse of x, give the points of the on the axis. So as you know already, the main idea is that we have to show they have a relationship, which is a reflection between in the line of y equal to x. So you can just kind of draw this with your pencil, obviously. Now, obviously, if you want to be more accurate, you can always measure one here, and then point here, one here, point here, and join them with a straight line. That is a way to be more accurate. Okay, so here it is y equal to x. Now, as we have seen, the shape here is right. So let's draw the first thing, so which is y equal to f of x. As we have seen, the shape is somewhat like this, right? When the value of x is 0, the value of y is equal to 4. So that's the first value that I have here, right? So let me show this. So 0, that should be the value of 4, let's say somewhere over here. Let's say when the value is 1, what happens? So when the value is 1, let's say 2. So that will be exponential. I'm just testing here. I don't know. I'm just testing. That should be 10 plus 3. That should be so big value. So it means that as the value of x increases, the value of y will also increase, right? So let's say it will be in the shape like this. Somewhat, let's say it's keep going up. That's the main idea for the graph of y f of x. Of course, we have to show the idea. We understand that it will have an asymptote at the value of, I mean, you don't need to. It doesn't tell you anywhere to show that, but I think this is what they are looking for as well, to show you understand how to draw exponential. But again, it doesn't ask you anything, so you should not worry about this too much. That is the graph of y equal to 3. That is the asymptote. That is to show that I understand that when we draw exponential, we have a line like this. Now again, it has no need. So now we have this line. Now again, we understand it is a reflection on this line. So we just try to copy this line somehow on this side. You will have something like this, right? So let's see. That should be, kind of try your best. Okay, here you go. It is only a sketch, so no big deal. Should be this, and we have to name this f inverse of x. Now we have to show the points. This is the point 4. So this has to be the point 4. So give the points where the graph crosses the axis. So here you go. And again, you can also draw the asymptote if you want to. There's no need, because the inverse of exponential graph is ln graph. Ln will be in this direction, as I've shown you before, and it will also have an asymptote. But now there's no need for this line. We just have to show this shape, and this, and these 2 points of where they intersect the axis. That will be part D of the question. That is question number 9. Now let's move on to question number 10, part A. So we have a particle P travels in a straight line so that t seconds after passing through a point O, its displacement s is given to you by this equation. Now it is a displacement x. Now, let's see what do we have to find. We have to find the value of t when P is at rest. At rest, what do we know? The value of V has to be 0. Now, so we have to find the value of V from S. How do you find V? We understand that V has to be ds by dt. So let's solve. Let me first rewrite down S so we can simplify. So S is 31 over 3 minus 1 over 3 t n minus this, right? That will be my value for s. Now ds by dt, so 1 by 1, this is a constant, that will be 0. This is a multiple, so minus 1 over 3 will be outside, and here we have exponential t, that will remain the same. And again we have 10, which is a multiple, and then here we have exponential minus t, and then we have to multiply by minus 1 for the d by dx of the power, d by dt of the power. So that will give you what? That will give you 0 is 0, so that will be minus 1 over 3, become plus 10 exponential minus t. So finally that will be 10 exponential minus t, 1 over 3 exponential t. That is my value of v. Now, we have to find the value of t when v is equal to 0. So let's solve. Let me continue right here. So you will have v is 0, that will be 10 t, we can rewrite this as this obviously, and then minus 1 over 3 exponential t. Now let me send this one over here. You will have 1 over 3 exponential t has to be 10 exponential power t. Now cross multiply, you will have this, right? This time this will be this, and this will be 30. So finally t has to be the what? So 2t has to be ln of 30. So t has to be ln of 30 divided by 2. That'll be 1.700598. But your answer will be what? Your answer will be 1.7 seconds for the time corrected to SF. That is part 1 of the question. Now let's move on to part 2 of the question. Here we have to find the distance traveled for the first 2 seconds. Now again, this one definitely I had to recheck the question because there was something I was missing in the first place. I have to test and see what can we do for this one, because in most cases the questions are all connected with each other. Let's see how we have a connection in this case. So we are given the displacement. Displacement S is given to you by 31 over 3 minus exponential t this minus 10 exponential minus t. This is the displacement and not the distance traveled. Now because we know that the particle p comes to rest at this value, which is between the value of 0 and then 2, 1.7 is somewhere over here, right? So we have to find the distance traveled in 2 stages. So let's do that. First stage, let's find the value of s when t is equal to 1.7. So let's see what happens for that. Replace back in your formula, you will have 31 over the value of 3 minus exponential power 1.7 over 3 minus 10 over exponential power 1.7. That will give me 6.68. So 6.6818, that is 5. But let me double check, because I always cannot make mistakes in those kind of questions. Let me double check. So what is exponential power 1.7? It is this value. That will be my answer. Now we have 31 over 3 minus answer over 3 minus 10 over answer. So that will be this value. Okay, so basically the first thing I know is that from the point O, we move in this direction until time equal to 1.7, because that's when we know the value, the particle comes to rest. So the distance from the point O, it is 6.68185 at this point. Now, because it came to rest, usually what happens is that they will have to change direction to go to the other way. But let's check to see if that's true or not. So let's find the value of displacement when t has to be the value of 2. 31 over 3 minus exponential square over 3 minus 10 over exponential square. That will be minus 66 point something. But let me double check again, because I always tend to make mistake in this kind of calculation. So exponential square has to be this value. So 31 over 3 minus answer over 3 minus 10 over answer, and that will be 6.51. so 6.51696. As you can see, when time is equal to 2, the value has decreased, right? It means that it has changed direction in this direction. So this is when time is equal to 2. S is now 6. So what is S? S is displacement from the point O, which means distance from O here is 6.51696. Okay, so now we have to find the distance traveled. So distance traveled is what? Distance traveled is equal to, so first thing, since we go in the one direction, we can first put this here, right? That's the first stage. Now plus the other stage is that, as we can see, this is displacement, but since we change direction, what is this distance here? That will be the difference that we need to add. That will be 6.68185 minus answer, that will be 0.164888. So this distance will be 0.1689. So plus 6.681 plus 85. So 85. That will be 6.85 for the distance traveled. That will be my value of distance travel for that 2 seconds. So the main idea here is that we have to first look at what is the distance travel, or what is the displacement in the first 1.7, because we know it comes to rest at this point, which means it is about to change direction. So as we have seen, indeed it changed direction, because when you move on with time, to when you go further with time, you see that the distance decreases from point O, which means that instead of going in this direction, now he has changed direction to go in the opposite direction. That's why the displacement from the point O has decreased. Now, what is the distance traveled? The first part, that's this value, but the other part will be the value over here, right? We will not be displacement, it will be the value. It moved from this point going back to O. So we have to find this and add this to find this as your answer. Correct your 3SF. So that will be part A of question number 10. Now let's move on to question number 10. A particle Q travels in a straight line so that t seconds after leaving a fixed point O, its v is given by those two equations. So we have two parts for this graph, from 0 to 5 and from t to more than 5. Sorry. Now again, the only confusion here is what? It is because we see v and t, but usually the same concepts we have used many times before. For example, what if I wrote this? What if I wrote y equal to 2x and y equal to x squared minus 8x plus 25. They are simply graphs, they are simply curves on the graph. So that's the main idea we had to have by doing this question. Now for part 1, we have to sketch the VT graph for the first 8 seconds of the motion of this one. Now for the first part is pretty easy. As we know, y equal to 2x, it is a straight line. So let's just find 2 points. When x equal to when t equal to 0, the value of v will be 0. That's the first point. When t equal to 5, the value of v will be 10. So 5 will be 10, should be right here. So these two can be joined by a straight line, connecting these two, because that is the equation of a straight line, v equal to 2t. Now moving on from this one, we have for more than 5, we have these values. But let's see first, what is the value when the value of v1, it is 5. That will be 25 minus 8 times 5 plus 25. That will be the value of 10. So it should be right here, starting from this point. Right. Now for one after, we have the value of, we can do one by one, so that's not a big deal. What do I mean? I mean that we can always find the corresponding value of v when we have time. For example, 6 squared, replace back in the equation, 6 squared minus 6 times, so 8 times 6 plus 25, that should be 13. So 13 should be somewhere over here, right? Now replace by 7 squared minus 8 times 7 plus 25, that should be 18. 18 should be somewhere over here. Now 8, that should be 8 squared minus 64 plus 25, 25. That should be somewhere over here. As you can see, the shape of the graph, it is going up. It is curved. This point is somewhere like this. As long as you show a shape, this is a straight line here, and then we have somewhat of a curve going up. If you show that, it should be fine. So this is not perfect here, it should be going up, not like this, okay? It should be straight and then kind of going up in this direction. Should be, this is the graph for time between 0 and 8. Okay. That will be part 1 of the question for 2 marks, not tough. Now for part 2, We have to find the distance traveled by Q in the first 8 seconds. So pretty easy. As always, what is distance traveled for a VT graph? It is the area under the graph. Now, first step is to break this down into two parts. You have this, and you have this. Aha, now you can see, how do you find the first one? Pretty easy. This one is it. Area of triangle, which is half, times base, which is 5, times height. Height is 10. That will give you 25 for the area of triangle. Right. Now, what is this one? Area under curve. How do you find that? By integration, obviously. So we have the value of v is given to you by t squared minus 8t plus 25. So this area is between the limits of 5 and 8. So 8 and 5. T squared minus 8t plus 25 with respect to dt. Now I know that my handwriting is not great right now. I'm trying to rush to go back to sleep, so that's why. That will be t squared, that'll be t cubed, sorry, over 3 minus 8 t squared over 2 plus 25 t, and then limits of 8, 5. Solve. 8 power 3 is what? 5 on 2 over 3 minus 8 times 8 squared divided by 2, that will be 2, 5, 6 plus 25 times 8, that will be 200. Minus the value of 5 now, so 5 power 3 divided by 3, so that will be 125 over 3 minus 8 times 25, because it is t squared, over 2, that will be 100. And plus the value of, what is 25 times 5? Should be 125. So here you go. 125 for this value. 75 1 by 1, never rush. This will be what? This will be 512 over 3 minus 256 plus 200. That will be 114 2 over 3. Then minus 125 over 3 minus 100 plus 125. That will be 66 2 over 3. So minus, you have 114 2 over 3 minus answer, that should be 48. So this part of the area is 48. So we have to add those two. 25 plus 48, that will be the distance traveled. That should be 73. And here we have what? We have, in terms of meters per second, that will be meters for my distance traveled. That will be part B of question number 10. Now question number 11, let's see, what do we have? So we have, we have done this already. Okay, so we have a triangle here, so that's the first indication. Now again, let's see, when we have this kind of question, we don't know what's happening, so let's draw something to help us out. So we have triangle, so that is O. You know what, let me actually put the video on this one, because I'm not gonna do everything again. Let me put the answer that I did before on this video. So that will be question 11 for the vectors question. Now let's move on to the question on vectors. I think this one, everyone wants to know how to do this question. So I would say this question, I did not do that one exactly on the previous days. However, if you guys were following me for a long time, definitely we have done these kind of questions many times. So let's proceed as well. And I believe also in one of the videos I mentioned something that we did not use, but it was useful in this question. So I hope you guys watched that video and understood that we could use this here. But either way, let's move on and see what can we do. So here we have what? Position vectors of A and B, which is from the point O. So it means that OA is equal to A and OB is equal to B. That's the first two things given to us, right? Now what's next? Line AB has been extended to a point C, as you can see here, to a point C. Now the first thing is AB is 1/4 AC, so pretty easy. Let's write this down to understand what's happening. So AB is 1/4 AC. So as I've shown you guys, the way we can break this down is, here we have this one closest, and here we have this one. So which means AC has to be 4, so this big thing is 4, and AB is 1. So if this is 1, how much will be BC? BC has to be 3. So that's the logic behind of breaking this down into two pieces. So that's what we have for part 2 of the information. Now for part 1, we have to show OC has to be this value. So let's find OC. OC is O moving to C. So first thing first, let me write this down. How can you move from O to C? So OC. So by observation, we can use the diagram right now. So OC, first begin from O, I can go to A. And then from A, I can go to C. Right, that makes sense, right? So let's do that. So here we have OA is given to you by what? By A. Now AC, we have to use the ratio given to you. As you can see here, AC is 1, so AB is 1 over 4 AC. So let's use that. So here we have AC, so we have AB is 1 over 4 AC. So if you make AC become subject, you will have 4 times AB by just cross multiplying. So here we have the values, we just have to replace. Now, how do you find AB? Again, you can use your diagram, or we can use by definition, because we have seen in so many videos, this is equal to OB minus OA. That will be B minus A. But now again, you can use the diagram as well. So AB, A going to B has to be A going to O, O going to B. But we know OA is A, but A going to O will be in the opposite direction. It will have to be minus A. And then O going to B is just B, so that's what we have, B minus A. So AB is this. Now replace back in the main equation, that will be 4 times AB, B minus A. So you will have A plus 4B minus 4A. That will be 4B minus 3A as your value for OC, and this is shown as required. So I believe for part 1, it is not that tough, right? It is quite easy, as we have done many examples yesterday. Now let's move on to the second part. I think it was 5 marks. It should be quite interesting. So before we begin with this question, let me write down a few concepts that you may use even for your Math D that is coming up. So the main idea here was what? Let me first read the questions, then we can continue with the concepts. So the question is what? The question is, the point D lie on the line. So I lie on the line. So I cannot mistype this. On the line A. The point D lie on the line OA, actually. Okay, on this line. Such that the ratio of OD and DA is 3 to 2. Okay, so this is 3, this is 2, right? Because OD is 3 and DA is 2. That's the first thing we have from that line. Now, the line CD meets OB at point E. So we have a line CD, this line, bam, and this line meet at the point E, right here. Now we have to find the position vector of vector E. We have to find OE. Now you can see something here is that we have OEB, which is a straight line. We have 3 points. And we have DEC, which is also a straight line. We have 3 points. And you can see this is what? This is the point of intersection of those two lines. So what do you think when we have something of intersection, meeting, we think about? Simultaneous equation, right? But either way, before we go to that step, there's something you have to know about vectors and lines and all that stuff. So I believe yesterday I made a video. I did not reuse the technique, however, but either way, I think you might have to use this in the future for Math D. So it's good if you guys know how to proceed with those questions. For example, let's say I have a line L and a line M. And I will say the line L and the line M, they are parallel to each other. So because of that, I can form an equation. So because they are parallel to each other, I can say L is equal to, let's say S times M. Now S, it is a constant, and we call this constant a multiple. Now I can write this equation, or I can write the other way around, which is M is equal to K times L as well, which is a constant. And the reason, so the main reason why I can write this is because I know these two lines are parallel with each other. Now the last time I explained something but we did not use it was, for example, we have a line and we have 3 points on the line. Let's say this is the line A, B, and C. So obviously because they are on the same line, I can assume that AB line has to be in the same direction as BC, or the line AB has to be in the same direction as AC. So same thing, same idea applies. I can form equations. For example, I can say AB is equal to a multiple, let's say M, of AC, because AB is parallel with AC. That's the main idea. Or I can write also AB is a multiple of BC. So which is AB is in the same direction as BC, right? So these are the main concept behind this. So we only know when two lines are parallel, we can form an equation like this, or when they are collinear, we can also form an equation like this. So using this concept, let's solve the question on the vector question, right? So let's break this down one by one. So let me write this over here. So because I know OEB, so I know OEB, they are a straight line, and the 3 points lie on the straight line. I can form equations. So I can say, for example, I can say OE has to be a multiple. Let me choose, you can choose anything. I can choose K. It's a multiple of OB. Why I can say that? Because I know these two have to be in the same direction because they lie on the same line. So let me replace. So I know that OE has to be K, and OB is given to you by B, which is KB, right? So that's my equation number 1. Now next one, let's see what can we use. Let me use DEC because they join to form the point E, right? So let me write this here. Let me do this right away. As we can see here, well, we can form another equation. So we can say, for example, we can say because we know that these 3 points on the same line, they are parallel points or collinear points, we can conclude that, let's form an equation that is helpful for us. I can say DE is a multiple, let's use T of DC. Okay, so that is one of the equations you can form. You can always test and see which one is suitable to help you find the answer, right? So it doesn't need to be that exact one. You can always write, for example, I can say DE has to be a multiple of EC, for example, right? But you can try and see which one makes more sense for you. So for me, I will choose this one that I think will be useful. So let's simplify. So by definition, what is DE? DE is OE minus OD, right? And this one will be T times DC. So let me continue below where we have more space. So let me write this now here. So right now I have what? I have this. I have OE minus OD is equal to T, which is a multiple, times DC. Now how do you find DC? DC is a multiple, which is, not multiple, but by definition it is OC minus OD. Now we know the value of OC. We have seen that from part 1, which is 4B minus 3A. Now what is the value of OD? Now we have to use the information given to us. So OD is 3. So what is the whole thing? The whole thing is 3 plus 2 is 5, right? And then we know that OA is given by A. So OD has to be, so basically 5 represents A. What about 3? 3 has to be A divided by 5 times 3. So that will be 3 over 5A. So OD has to be 3 over 5A. So 3 over 5A. This is a simple ratio that we use to find that value. So now we have this. Let me try to simplify. 4B minus 3. A minus 3 over 5A. That is my value for DC. Let's simplify this one because they have AA. So how do you do that? So let's make them have the same base. You'll have minus 15A minus 3A. That will be over 5, right? That will give you. But of course, you can always go back to using your calculator just to make sure you have the right values. That will be minus 18 over 5A. Well, this question was 5 marks, so definitely expect some work to do. It's not as easy as it would have been. So now we place back in the equation. You will have what? OD, so OE, has to be T multiplied by 4b minus 18 over 5a. Send this over here, become plus OD. So you will have expand the brackets, you will have 4tb minus 18 over 5ta plus OD. OD is given by, as we have seen, 3 over 5a. Okay, simplify. Let me write down the a value first. So a at the beginning, you will have, because they have the same base, I can combine them together. You will have 5. Here we have 3. Here we have minus 18t. And because a is common, I can just factorize a outside. And then we can write 4tb. This is the value of OE. Aha, so now we realize something, right? From the first equation, from the top, we have OE equal to this one. So let's write this down. We have first equation OE equal to KB. Now we can rewrite this as what? As, because there's no value for A, we can write 0A plus KB. That's the value for the first equation. Now for the second equation, let me write this down too so we can work together. We have the value of OE equal to 3 minus 18a over 5, sorry, 18t, and a is outside, right? And plus 4tb. Now, as you can see already, that we understand that OE is the same thing as OE, right? So let's equate them with each other, which means let's solve a simultaneous equation. So on one side you will have OA, so 0a, plus k times b is equal to this value, 18t over 5 times a, and plus 4tb. Now let's compare. How do we solve this kind of question? We compare coefficients, which means in front of a we have this, in front of a here we have this, and in front of b we have this, in front of b we have this value. So which means 0 is equal to 3 minus 18t over 5 on one side, and here we have k is equal to 4t on the other side. Okay, now simplify, cross multiply, you will have 0, 3 minus 18t, so that will be t has to be the value of, so simplify, that will be, send this over here, become 18t divided by 18, that should be 1 over 6. Now bring this right here, k has to be 4 times 1 over 6, that will be, the value will be 2 over 3. So we have the value of k and the value of t. Now you can choose, you can replace in either equation. As you can see here, we can use this one. So OE has to be 0a plus k is 2 over 3b. So this is the answer for part question 2 of vectors question. Okay, so the main point is this concept you guys have to know. Let's say you have a question in Mathy about vectors as well, you will have to use this concept. When you have two parallel lines or you have two collinear points, we can form equations that can help us to solve simultaneously to find the values of those position vectors. And that is the question that I have received from you guys. If you guys have any more questions you want me to try, let me know in the comments and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. With that being said, thank you for watching. I will see you soon. Now let's move on to the last question of this paper, 12 part A. The first term of this progression is minus 5. So this is the first term, so A has to be minus 5. Now the fifth term is given by 7, so T5 will be 7. So the question is to find the sum of the first 40 terms. So sum of the first 40 terms. So pretty easy. Now it is given that we know it is a arithmetic progression. So let's first write down the formulas that we know for that progression. So we have the n term is given by a plus n minus 1 times d, and the sum of the first n term is given by half n and 2a plus n minus 1 times d. Now these two are given to you, you don't need to memorize that. Now let's form a few equations. So let's see what can we do for this one. So when the value of n is equal to 5, the term is equal to 7. Replacing this one, you will have term is 7, n is equal to 5. So a, we know it is minus 5, as you can see here, plus n minus 1 is 4 times d, we don't know. Now let's try to find the value of d. So 4d has to be 12. So d has to be the value of 3. Okay? Because when you send this over here, it becomes 7 plus 5 becomes 12, right? Let's check, because we don't want to be making silly mistakes in your exams. So 7 plus 5 is 12. There you go. So now we have a value of a as well and value of d. So we can find the sum of the first 40 terms. That will be half times 40, that will be 20. 2 times a will be minus 10. Plus n minus 1, that should be 39 times d for the value of 3. Let's solve and see what happens. So 20 minus 10 plus 39 times 3. That will be 2140 for the sum of the first 40 terms. So that is 20 terms. That seems to be fine. So that is our question part A for your arithmetic progression. Now let's move on to part B. So here we have, it is given to you already. It is a geometric progression. Has a third term of 8 and a sixth term of this value. So third term, T3, is 8. And T6 is given by 0.064. Right. Now we have to find the sum to infinity. So sum to infinity. Now first thing first, obviously when you know what kind of progression is given to you, you first write down the formulas we know for that progression. So the nth term is given to you by ARN minus 1, and the sum to infinity that we need to find is A divided by 1 minus R. So let's form equations. So here we have, when the value of n, which is the third term, is given by 8. Replacing, you have 8 equal to A times R 2. That is my equation number 1. Now same steps, let's form equation number 2. Here we have sixth term. So when the value of n is 6, you have 0.064 AR power 5. That is my equation number 2. Now obviously, as you can see, we have 1 and 2. We can solve a simultaneous equation. You can choose to do one by one, or if you want to, you can always do that. You can take number 2 divided by number 1. It is up to you, right? We have on one side, you will have what? You will have 0.064 for this one over this 8 is equal to AR power 5 over AR power 2. Now simplify, this will go away. That will be 3. So R power 3 has to be what? 0.064 divided by 8, that will be 0.008. So R has to be of the answer, that will give you 0.2. So the value of R is 0.2. Now let's find the value of A from that. So replace back in your main equation. Let's use this one. A has to be the value of 8 divided by 0.2 square. That will be 200. So now once you have the value of A and R, you can replace back in your formula here for the sum to infinity. So let's do that. That will be A will be the value of 200 divided by 1 minus 0.2. That will be 250 as your answer. And this is the last question of this paper. I hope that was somewhat helpful. And as always, thank you for watching. I will see you soon.